Episode 1 and 2 were warnings. Revenge of the Sith is a catastrophe. This is where the Republic dies, the Jedi fail, and the Chosen One becomes the very thing he was supposed to destroy.
Live from Crawford Studios,
it's CNJ guy.
What's up, fellas?
I love it, man.
You guys are fucking...
I love it.
So we have Justin back. What's going on, Justin?
Justin.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
guys.
He's a big Star Wars guy, this man right here.
Yeah. So we are back. We are talking about episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
My favorite one.
Yeah.
Some would argue it's the best.
Yes.
It's me. I would argue that.
Yes,
Yes, I would say.
well, I think we're all in agreement. I honestly think that episode 3 is the best episode of all the Star Wars because it's like the whole like change of everything. And there's just so much that's happening in there.
Right.
So what are your thoughts, Justin?
I think it's probably one of like the best for something that was always intended to be a prequel series. That's probably the best rendition there has ever been of a prequel series that truly ties itself back to what it's intended to be a part of. You know, the original trilogy, that being much that it has to do to get from Anakin Skywalker to
Darth Vader
as we're supposed to know it as the original trilogy. There's so much that the movie has to do from beginning to end to get there, and it does it perfectly in like a perfect amount of time.
Yeah, I 100% agree. They really did that movie so well. You know, the one things that I always tell people like about is the expanded universe, and I think a lot of people should like check it out and get into it. And that is watching the Clone Wars, because if you watch the entire Clone Wars series and then go back and watch Revenge of the Sith, it makes it so much better. Like there's just so much more going on and so much more like character development.
Couldn't agree more.
So what is expanded universe? That is a great question, Mr. Crawford.
You have DC, you have Marvel.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, it's its own.
Yeah, so the Star Wars expanded universe is everything that is like the whole entire everything. Because, you know, it started off with the Skywalker series, but the expanded universe is there's just so many different stories and everything going on and different parts of the galaxy and yeah.
And the way that the Clone Wars ties itself directly to episode 2 and episode 3, predominantly episode 3 though, and completely bridges the gap between episode 2 and 3. Watching all of Clone Wars and then again hitting episode 3, it makes episode 3 infinitely better than it already was.
First of all, for me, even though we're not there yet, had the best lightsaber fight ever, okay, in that movie. All right.
Yeah. I would. And then this is another thing that's like prominent in Clone Wars. There's so many like of these substantially important, really good fights that happen in Clone Wars that you would never know happened if you didn't watch the show at all. There's several more moments of Yoda in combat. There is plenty more moments of both Anakin and Obi-Wan in combat, as well as their apprentice Ahsoka, who is also now in other platforms in the extended universe with her own show. And it also kind of shows you sometimes through that action and that extra combat that you get the development of Anakin and his like raw power over time.
Exactly. The whole series is like just so awesome. And what ends up happening is when it ties in at a certain point when like, cause it ties into Revenge of the Sith. So there's like a handoff moment, like where like they say Coruscant is under attack,
right?
And you'll see like, that's exactly where the scene starts. So at the start of the scene, right? So in Revenge of the Sith, the first start of the scene is Coruscant's under attack. You have and by the way, I think that is the first time do you see Obi-Wan pilot a ship.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. And that's when they go in. So that scene I always think is an important scene. So what do you think, Justin?
You will try.
I love that and that's like something that you get again a bunch in Clone Wars. You get to see Obi-Wan fly plenty in Clone Wars. He hates it the whole time. That's how they make that. It's funny because episode 3 has X amount of minutes to it where like you can only get so much of every single character.
Right.
Clone Wars finds a way to make every minute of episode 3 like mean something.
Right. Crazy. It's unbelievable. I love it.
Like they take that one little bit of him being like, oh, I hate flying, and turned it into a whole bit over several seasons in Clone Wars.
I remember when I first saw Star Wars, man, but I don't know him to the extent like you
Right.
guys.
Yeah.
I know a lot of stuff because I see what's going on, online. When you see these stories like with Plagueis, all right, that's something else is happening here.
The Clone Wars show, it dips into even more of that like deep end stuff that you only get snippets of in the actual episode 2 and 3.
So there's something I noticed on the rewatch that I wanted to talk about. The scene when he fights Count Dooku. There's something that Count Dooku says to him. He goes, "You have fear, you have anger, but you don't use it." And then for some reason you see Anakin and he passes through a shadow and his eyes glow orange as he passes through the shadow. And he's already channeling the dark side after what happened in the last movie with him like killing the whole Tusken Raider family.
Oh, yeah,
and all
he
that
went
women and
bananas.
children. So like he's already like channeling dark side. And I remember George Lucas saying this. He said something, the dark side always like corrupts, no matter, so like he already kind of like did dark shit. And now he's just like, he's already channeling the dark side. He's already on his way.
And it's cool because for the movies, at least, that's the first time that we get just even a glimpse of him like truly stepping off the deep end. And then again, that the enrichment of Clone Wars comes up again. That's not the first time that ever gets to happen to him. There's a section of Clone Wars, I believe season 3, it was called the Mortis arc, where they went to a very, very special and specific planet where they got to meet like the 3 deity embodiments of the light, the dark, and the in-between. It's obviously this is like super deep end lore. They were out in deep space. They find the deities of the Force, but they showed him what he is destined kind of to become and also give him a pretty fair warning. And in that time when they sort of hit him with this vision quest moment, he gets to see himself with those plagued eyes.
Right. Listen, watching Anakin just grow. Yes, to the dark side. Well, because like Justin and Tom was saying earlier, just watching his power get stronger.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? Just watching him just his power growing through the movies, seeing what he was, what we believed he was thinking, how he was feeling. Now with the fandom that's going on, we get to see what we all, what other people think that he was going through. You know what I mean?
What's the actor's name again? Who played him?
Hayden
Christensen.
He said
incredible.
When he first did the movies, he got so much backlash, and then later on, it became like everybody loved him.
Yeah. But it took so much time for that to happen. It was like a very upsetting thing to watch happen. Still, it doesn't take away from how incredible he was.
Mm-hmm.
And still is in other stuff to this day. So I think going off of what Kenny's saying, his like the development from 1 to 2 to 3, it's not even just like a coming of man story. It's almost just like a coming of human. It's a very, very human story that you get from him from beginning to end. A lot of the stuff that happens to Anakin, if you realistically put yourself in his exact shoes, is just a very human response in a world that is full of sci-fi fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. Listen, we've been, through all the episodes that we've been talking about, for the last, few episodes of our show, thinking about just how so many, you've seen us talking, we have seen, because I'm trying not to make it about me, but how we've seen how all of the characters grew, how they all had a part in, just Anakin, Luke, how he, who he was, that Darth Vader is his father. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
That Leia is his sister. How close they all were, and like they were really family with Han Solo. Then you look at the dark side, and you see how the Sith came around, and and all the little shows and stuff, the animes and everything that came out of it, and you're like, what the? It's so deep, so like the storyline is
backstory,
insane. I love this shit.
There's like
and
an
that we can sit and talk and laugh and joke about it and all the things. And like that Justin is, I'll say it like this, Justin's the youngest one out of us, on the show right now, and that it attracted him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So thank you, Justin. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, I was picked up by Star Wars like so early on.
Yeah.
But I also had so much material already to consume by the time I was
right.
of the age to consume it. So, and then on top of that, for all of my growing up, I had the Clone Wars series like coming out.
Right.
So that was, I got to watch episode 1, 2, and 3 almost in succession. And then not too long after that, I got the entire Clone Wars series for all of growing up. So like I've always had Star Wars. And now there's how many shows? I've never not had a time of Star Wars content coming out.
Yeah. See? And that's what's cool about it, man, because there's always something. You know what I mean? There's always something of Star Wars coming out that's giving you, like you said, when Ahsoka came out, I lost it. I was like, this is beautiful because, again, following Anakin,
right,
knowing how he was looking at the dark side, how all the things that were going on in his life, like I said, with the animations for them, and how he was with Ahsoka. And then, Ahsoka, they just kind of like kicked it to the curb. You know what I'm saying? This guy out there going to start moving shit with the Force over there.
No.
But, and like I said, that it's freaking amazing. Then they do the live action, like I said, between the animations and then the live action of Ahsoka. Dude, I was like, I'm not going to lie, bro. I wish she would have stayed with Grogu. I wish you would have had him a little bit longer for the show. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? You want me on?
No. I meant on the Ahsoka show.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think that Grogu is going to need a little bit of everybody, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of how powerful we're assuming that he's going to be. So I think he should have some of the trainings from Ahsoka. He's already got the parental or the father figure Mandalorian. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It kills me. The handling of Grogu as a character,
it
kills me because it's just like every time an important decision needs to be made for him that will actually like lead him down the right path and a good, interesting direction, they like strip it away so quickly. It's just happenstance. It's part of the story. I understand it, but it's so killer that there is yet another, as far as all of the extended universe stories go, there is yet another Force wielder that is still out there somewhere, even after everything that has been said and done. And they do so little with him when they're few and far at that point in time in the story.
Wait, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Grogu and just Force users across the board at the point in time in which the Mandalorian is happening. There's almost none left.
Right. Because, think about it. You have Rey, right? Then you look at what was going on with her dealing with Luke, her starting to turn around and find that she's got the Force. Now another story coming around. The young kids is what I wanted to say. Yeah, you got all the youngins coming around, and the youngins are actually stepping up. They're starting to embrace that they have the Force. I was going to start a whole new storyline. Star Wars can go on and for another, probably like another 50 years.
They'll go on forever.
Yeah.
They will always have a way to bring it back around. Yeah. But it's still, it's interesting because because of all the extended universe stuff that there is quite a few like Force users, wielders still out and about at the whole time between episode 3 and the original trilogy, as well as after the original trilogy into the sequels. There's Force, there's a handful here and there, but there is some, and Grogu is one of them, but he's like the least impactful, strangely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the crazy part.
Because he's more of a klutz.
No.
It's also like the whole all right, it's a baby, and it's a baby for a long time.
Yep.
There's only so much you could do with that. And then also it's a bit of the story is not centered around that character, and so it only gets to him so much, and they only really tap into it so much. But it is just kind of crazy that he is another of very, very few Force wielders that are out there that has almost nothing going on with him.
Right. Exactly.
As of right now.
As of right now. And again, a movie just came out, so we might have to go and see that.
Right. So then let's see, the next thing that they do is fast forwarding him to, let's say, what we would consider adulthood.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Then now he's going to be able to.
I have no idea how long that takes for them.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Because, think about
how long do they age?
Well, he said words.
He's 50 years old.
I'm sorry? What'd you say?
That baby is 50-something years old.
Yeah.
Right.
In human years.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Well, he's considered an infant still.
Right.
In his world or where he's from.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So then if he's 50
Ages
years now
differently.
and he's where he is, do they fast forward to where, like I said, that he's going to actually be able to speak, that he's going to use the Force a little bit better? I still want to see, like I said, who's going to be, if Luke is going to train him, how Luke is going to train him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They created a challenge for themselves by making him the same species as Yoda.
Right, exactly. And that's why I'm saying, that's why for me, I think that if it was Ahsoka to have him for a little bit, you know what I mean? Her then end up meeting up with Luke, they kind of training him together. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, we got a glimpse of that, right? In the show. There was that short, what was that? I think a single episode situation where they were actually training him, where they were both there with him.
Right, but she wasn't really, that's what I'm saying. How long
she was very passive about it.
Right.
Luke was actually doing the training.
Yeah.
It never actually, that's what I'm saying. Like, it never actually fully clicked.
Yeah.
Where they actually, like, get him some training and some development.
And that's what I'm saying. So now, in your opinion, Justin, who would that be? Who do you think it should be from who we have left, I guess?
I think Ahsoka would be really cool. I don't know how long her species lives.
Right.
I don't know if they have like extended life like some species do. So they, again, might have created a timeline challenge for themselves there by making him the same species as Yoda. I would love to see Ahsoka, but there's also a few other people that are out there that could be helping him. My personal one that also super, super should have been in the Ahsoka series, probably, Cal Kestis from the Jedi Fallen Order games.
Yeah.
Yes.
Into the video games. Yeah. There's so much you can get into.
And that's all taking place at the same time, a little bit ahead.
Right.
Nearly the same time as the Mandalorian stuff is happening.
Yeah, like they're around.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're alive at that time,
Yeah, again, few and far, but there are a few out there that they just haven't used because either because they're from extended universe stuff that they just want to keep extended universe, or because they just haven't fully thought to and want to stick to their main, their staple characters. It obviously with any sort of fiction, it gets muddled down when there's absurd amount of people and there's a lot to follow already. So they may be trying to avoid that in some ways, but I think there's some really cool people out there they could be using, and Cal Kestis is certainly one of them.
Yeah, definitely, especially from the video games.
And there was so many points in time in the Ahsoka series where it would have been so okay for him to be there.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And even still, I've never read the comics or any of the graphic novel stuff, anything like that. So I know that there's a lot of things that are a lot of fillers, I guess we'll say, in the written version of Star Wars.
It was its own comic in a sense.
Right. Yeah. No, it really was. It was.
Right.
Then I would like for them to bring some of those comics to life. Just because we're saying now, just
the
to
stuff
the
they used to
fillers.
sell on the. I remember those.
Yeah.
Selling them.
And that would be fan-fucking-tastic, bro. If they actually, they made some of those into the animations, like anything else. Animations are easier to sell, if that makes any sense. Right. So for them to be able to just draw the stuff up, and put that out there, put that story out there.
Are there different styles of drawings or cartoons?
Well, now because everything has evolved. But a lot of
there's the I can't remember what the name of it is, but there was a small mini series of little individual Star Wars stories that were all done in different animation art styles.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Those were all incredible, by the way. They're so not canon, most of them, but they're really, really good.
Yep. And
then you also have the Clone Wars style 3D animation series, that very specific chalky art style that they chose for the 3D series. Personally love it because I grew up with it. But it's I know it's a huge eyesore to some people the way that it looks. But by the later seasons of it was kind of crude at first. By the later seasons of Clone Wars, though, it's some of the most beautiful animation.
Yeah.
And also, I know we were talking about some of the best battles before being in episode 3. I think probably the only contender for maybe the other best lightsaber fight is Ahsoka versus Darth Maul at the end of the Clone Wars series.
Thank you, bro. Was that not amazing?
Oh, bro.
Blue, you would freak out at how good it was. Also, that's another thing too. Darth Maul, still alive, super present in the Clone Wars series. You see him constantly.
So good.
Yeah. Say it again, Justin. Sorry.
He's still alive. Yeah, you see him all the time.
Yeah. Right. And that's what's crazy about it, man. You know, Darth Maul, now that they've got the show and everything now, watching him, you know, come back because he lost it.
Right.
You know, he was crazy. His mind was gone. You know,
You're talking about like when in like the Clone Wars. Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He lost it. He's coming back from the brink of just animal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just his story alone is another that would be an amazing series to see.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, it just got one.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
To see it now, like, you know, that was, I'm sorry, I worded it wrong. But yeah, bro, like just for him to do that shit is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
you know?
I haven't even partaken in the Maul series yet, which is honestly a crime because he's probably one of my favorite characters.
Really,
And again, bias because I grew up with Clone Wars.
Right.
Darth Maul, probably one of my favorite characters. Something that people who only watch the movies would never say. He's a guy that's in the one movie, and he's kind of strange, and he doesn't really talk a lot, and he doesn't really make a lot of sense in the first movie. However, Clone Wars does him an absolute justice and turns him into like a victim of the Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They had to because in all the animations. Yeah, because in the animations, they show where he came from. You know what I'm saying? And the witches making him, or, you know, putting him down. Go ahead.
And then Darth Sidious sort of almost buying him off of them.
Right.
As like this dark magic super soldier that they created for him, potentially.
Right.
And then also, obviously, the fall of the plan, the foil of everything, the
right,
what you would think is executed. He survives. It's a miserable experience for him. He still contends with Obi-Wan and Anakin a couple more times in the series. Things that you would never see. I almost wish that somewhere in episode 2, they had snuck in that they were still having encounters with Darth Maul.
Right.
Because that's something that is just straight up not in episode 2 and 3 at all because they were considering him dead, that the Clone Wars just does over and over again. He's very, very prominent.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. What were you going to say, Lou? Sorry.
I'm agreeing with you guys.
Yeah. Because then too, look at and you know, just still staying with the animations, look at what the Bad Batch did, you know?
Oh my God, yeah.
I loved Bad Batch. I'm still upset, man. They need to bring it back.
I should start watching it. I stopped. How many seasons are in that?
Bad
Batch was, I think, was it 3 seasons or 4?
3 or 4, yeah, something like that.
I need to watch the second one again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, yeah. I mean,
the first episodes usually have a really, really good recap. You could probably get away with just starting at season 3.
Yeah. The next year, that's right. Yeah, the season, go to season 3, the beginning of it, and then it'll tell you.
Yeah, for me personally, when someone doesn't have, like, there's never going to have the time to watch all of the Clone Wars, I tell them, watch the final season.
Right.
It's the best animation. It's the most pertinent to the story because it's so closely attached to episode 3 that it's like you can get the gist of what you truly need from the Clone Wars series by just watching that final season because it ties so directly to episode 3.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I do want to get us back on the rails. We're going really off the rails. Episode
just strolling down.
I want to keep talking. I do want to.
We kind of all did it. Yeah.
No,
I knew that would happen. I knew that would happen.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's jump back into the Count Dooku scene. Right. There's a lot we can talk about. Anyway, so I thought Christopher Lee did an amazing job. But I think you know that famous part is when you really get to see Palpatine bleed through is that scene when he does the famous yeah. So what do you guys think about that scene? We'll talk about that a little bit, you know.
That scene when he tells him to kill him?
Yeah.
Kill him.
Yeah.
Kill him now.
That was good, brother. You did that shit really well.
I do. Every time I watch him, like, kill him.
Kill him now. And everything, man. Like, do it.
Good, Anakin. Good. I would do that too. Good, Anakin. Good.
Yeah, You think that he could have turned around right there and did it to him if he wanted to? Like, in other words, if Anakin knew that this Sith was playing him, he could easily fucking taken that guy.
I guarantee.
What do you think would happen?
I guarantee you, he's got contingencies. You know,
I would think he, even there in that seat imprisoned, was totally playing a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
If he tried to swing at him, he probably would have locked his body in place.
Right. Yeah.
or would have done something.
Yeah, you got to remember at that point, still nobody knows that he's Sidious.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And again, in the Clone Wars, during that whole span of time, he is destroying people as Sidious in the behind the scenes.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally destroying people. He's very powerful.
He takes on Darth Maul and Darth Maul's brother at the same time and treats them like children.
Yeah.
Savage.
Smacking him around. Yeah. That's how crazy clone. But you know what's crazy is that everything that he did, like he really seriously, he thought a long time of how he was just going to play, just play everybody. You know what I mean?
And that's mostly because of deep lore that exists way before him. The creation of the Rule of Two for the Sith was like kind of the worst thing that ever happened to them, because it made it less about having the numbers to like let darkness network itself out into the galaxy, and instead just making it about the Rule of Two.
Yep.
You're incredibly, incredibly covert. And you're going to do everything that you can to meddle with the world until the moment that is most necessary.
And he did
it.
However, he did it.
And when he got Anakin to cross that boundary, and crossing the moral lines by doing to do it. And where he just slices, Count Dooku's head right off.
Yeah. Right off, man.
And back to your original question too of like,
sabers when he did it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cold.
It was
shit.
great. Yeah. Say again, Justin.
Back to the original question you were saying of like how that scene is portrayed. Personally, I love it because I think that the most Sith-like moments for a lot of Sith are the moments where they react and act sort of like a cornered animal. If that makes sense. Like he goes from being calm and coy and like passive and sort of like sheltered to all of a sudden, do it. And it's almost like a bite.
Right.
And it happens constant. It's a very like they're very reactionary in a way that makes total sense for a Sith.
Yeah. You're right. I didn't think about it. You just said so. You're right.
Only a Sith thinking absolute.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's weird. I didn't even think about it, bro, until you just said that.
Yeah. It's a very like I think that the dark side overall is interpreted very well in its own in its own fiction. It's so like coarse all the time. Like being a Sith, it always seems so uncomfortable.
Right.
It seems like living in anxiety and just being incredibly like reactionary, like something that's covered in a rash almost. Yep. And they portray it like that all the time so well.
Living in a state of paranoia too.
They have
because
to.
Absolutely.
Because if you're a backstabber, you have to be paranoid,
right?
Because it's your type of thinking. Right. Like if you're a backstabber type, like he is, like he's got to be thinking the same way. Like who's doing that to him? That kind of thing. And it's one of the coolest parts about that scene that I love is because Christopher Lee fucking nails that fucking scene is when after he says do it and you just see like Christopher Lee's face, he's like he realizes fuck, I'm expendable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He didn't realize that the Rule of Two is interchangeable.
Yeah. He's
right,
like, fuck, I'm getting taken out.
Because he didn't think he was going to be the one of the two to be kicked out of the club.
And he was a Jedi, so he knows, he goes, oh, fuck, this guy's breaking Jedi. He's getting Anakin to break the Jedi, and it's to kill me. He's next.
Yeah.
He knew it right away.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Listen, he should have ducked though, bro. Fuck around. He should have
believe that there is
too naive.
Like he figured it all out. He was like, "Oh, the chosen one, Anakin.
He was
he's
still
the one.
green in life,
right?
When you think about it,
yeah.
I believe that there's a very on the nose comment from Count Dooku in the Clone Wars series. I'm trying to remember exactly what it is, but I believe he does make a comment about Maul at some point where he says something along the lines of, "That would never happen to me."
Right. Yeah.
And it's just a very little, like a short little on the nose moment that they put in there.
Right.
Yeah. Done. Yeah. I remember that. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, is.
Yeah. No, he's going to die.
I'm good.
Because he didn't think he was going to die. He thought that he was still going to be.
No, he truly thought that him and Sid, they had it on lock. There's also an extra, I think, Star Wars Legends episode about the exact moment in which Dooku becomes a Sith.
Yeah, they have that in.
Yes.
that show that which animated
That was
series.
Legends, right?
Legends, right? Yeah,
Legends?
Yeah, it was like the shorts. That was the
Yeah,
name of
because Legends was in the Clone Wars animation,
Yeah.
but it was just some small, like Ahsoka's birth.
It is canon though, right? It's not Legends. It's
Yeah.
canon.
I believe the Legends stuff was the canon stuff, or is Legends the anime?
So
one?
Legends, they call Legends like the stuff that's not canon. They like there's some other stories or alternate for like with
different productions.
what's his name? He had like a wife. Luke Skywalker had a wife and all that.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like an alternate
That's all
universe.
Legends.
No.
They consider that
It was
Legends.
all the backstory.
When they made the sequels.
It's Star Wars Visions is the anime ones that are definitely not canon.
Yes.
Legends is the one that's actually true stories that are in the Clone Wars animation style.
Yeah.
But Visions, that's the one I think you're talking about, right? Where it had Count Dooku becoming Count Dooku, right?
Yes, it's I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, it is the moment in which Sidious sends him on a mission to kill a Jedi.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
We did the Count Dooku thing.
Right,
There was
set off.
there was one more thing I think you wanted to bring up. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, I have a whole list of
Yeah, he's got a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, that's what we're writing off for what he brings in. Yeah, what's the next one then? No, but seriously, man, you think about all the stuff that Dooku had to go through,
and
he seemed to be
that.
But I'm just saying he was the calmest one. He was the coolest one. You know what I'm saying?
He was sly because he was older.
Right.
And he knew when to take
He
his...
just chilled out, laid low,
didn't move.
sent everybody else, and then he just dip off into the background.
He'd do his thing, and then he'd be out.
They show you a little bit of him as a Jedi in that Legends.
Yes, they did.
Is it in that? I think it's in that small series of episodes. Was it a single episode or 2 episodes?
I think it was 2 episodes, bro.
I think it was a 2-parter.
Right.
And the first part of it, you get a bit of him as a Jedi, and he's actually... strangely, pretty similar to how he is as a Sith. He's like a very he's almost like Snape, Harry Potter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like a very slick, cold sort of teacher.
Yup. Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's so wild. And then that he just fucking flipped.
Yeah. I forget most of the conversation that he ends up having with that Jedi, but they end up, they're fighting while they're doing it, but they end up having a pretty interesting conversation where she's trying to probe him on why the whole time. And I can't remember the exact words that they said, but he brings up a bunch of stuff that Sidious sort of infected him with in a way that he did super similarly to Anakin.
Got it.
Oh.
Got it.
Claims of extra abilities, powers, the ability to take control of things more in his life.
Beat him in the head.
Okay, so that's where I wanted to talk about next. You guys are all right going?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the next part is, them after he allegedly saves the Chancellor Palpatine, as we know, it's all a ruse. He asks him to be his personal guard, which means he has to be on this, on the Jedi Council. And right away, Anakin's like, oh, I guess I got to make me master to be on the Jedi Council.
Right.
And then that whole scene, how they say, you're on the Jedi Council, but we do not grant you master.
Yes.
And he just goes, this is preposterous. I don't know what he says. This is blasphemy. Whatever. He loses his shit, right? And that whole scene, they have this whole distrust towards him, right? They have there's and the whole problem with Anakin is his emotional isolation, hypocrisy, war, all that stuff's going on, and he's like, he's technically a young kid. I don't know how old he is in that.
He was in his early 20s.
Yeah. So all this shit's happening to him, and they have this whole distrust towards him. So so what do you guys think about that scene?
Well, I don't think that it was distrust. I think that they knew he was too young.
Yeah, but they felt something, but they couldn't say what. Even Yoda didn't.
They knew what it was.
I think they felt the dark side of it.
He said something wasn't. Didn't Yoda say something in reference to it?
But that's what we had said before.
Yes.
But we said before.
Or was
we
it
already
just
knew
distrust?
No, we already knew that they were unsure because of what we believe who his teacher was. You know what I'm saying? But then he didn't have that. He wasn't up to be a master yet. His skills weren't there. You know what I'm saying? As a whole, no, he wasn't able to do it. That's why.
Right. It was also in part, and again, they hit on this a lot in Clone Wars. Arrogant tactics.
Right.
Is a very big thing for him. Just like brute forcing through stuff all the time in Clone Wars. It's super prominent. He does it all the time and then constantly gets scolded for it.
Right.
So it's like they provide more of the means for it to make sense, but it does completely make sense. Like you're supposed to be essentially a lieutenant in an army doing like the most brash tactics imaginable a lot of the time.
Right.
And then like saying, well, it's fine because look, we did it.
Right.
All the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do think he needed to sit back a little bit. You know what I mean? Not to
also just to fact check real quick, he's 22 years old in episode 3.
22.
Yeah, see?
Super young.
I would have been that stupid.
Well, again, though, you know,
that's young. How old are you, Justin?
About to be 28.
Yeah. But I'm saying, see, here's the thing. We have to remember, though, say, we wouldn't have been that stupid, but look at our upbringing.
Right.
So that then for him, that's what we had also said before, you know, in our other show, that if Mace Windu would have been the one to be his master.
Right, he would have been trained.
He would have been trained differently. He would have been taught different things.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan still did a great job.
No, but I get it. But
Obi-Wan does do a great job. Yeah, it's true.
Right, no. But I'm saying as far as Anakin is concerned, right, and what we knew his powers to be.
Hold a little bit more.
Right, because Obi-Wan was he was a good nurturer. You know what I'm saying? He spoke to him. He was the mommy figure. I'm saying it like that. What? I meet you outside, whatever. He was that nice guy, the nice teacher. Right. He needed Mace to be that structure. Bro, you can't do this. No, that's not how we do it. Yes, we're going to go kick in the door, but we're going to wait a second before we kick in that fucking door. Right. Calm your ass down, motherfucker. Right? Because Mace Windu.
No, absolutely. I think to what you're saying, to what you mean, Obi-Wan is an incredible teacher and an incredible like caregiver for pupils.
Yes.
Just in general. And father figure and brother figure.
Yep.
However, someone like Mace is probably what Anakin needed.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to do the what if, someone like Mace would have been incredible for him. Would it maybe have potentially ended up with the same fate, just in a different way? Also, maybe.
Nah, I don't.
You don't think so?
Nah.
Because and the only reason that I say that is because there's a lot of talk and sort of nuanced theory around Mace being somewhere between the light and the dark.
Between.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why I say,
which is good, I think.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's why Anakin wouldn't have been the same outcome. Anakin would have been able
to help him balance that.
Well, right, but Anakin could have, like I said, Anakin would have been able to turn around and you'd still use his brute force. You know what I'm saying? Still be that. Just to have that, it's the same. The arrogance would have looked different. He would have known he could. Like I still say,
structure would have been different.
Yeah, sure. I still say Mace is alive, and I'm waiting for that to come out.
Yeah, that would be
in something potentially.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
like I think
even if they do an animation, it would be awesome.
Yeah, because I think he's going to come out, and it's going to be around Ahsoka. If they turn around and they bring him back, it's going to be Ahsoka to turn around because of how she's traveling.
His memory. He doesn't know.
But that's right. But she knows who he is.
Right.
So she's going to end up. That's how I would write the story.
So the other thing is if you watch, and I know we bring it back to the Clone Wars all the time, but like if you watch the Clone Wars, you would see that like he was notorious for like doing like high jumps. He was like a high jumper. I don't know why. Yep. Like out of other like Star Wars characters, for some reason he was doing these like high jumps off of cliffs and stuff like that.
You're talking about Mace?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah. He had this thing with like the superhero landings were his jam.
Right, yeah.
For some reason.
Exactly.
So it wouldn't be so absurd to see him like maybe lose his conscience, but then like maybe catch his balance and like do like land on something. On a vehicle,
on another vehicle. Like kind of bounce from vehicle to vehicle,
maybe
he's
got to be alive.
Yeah. Like I'm just saying.
There's no way.
It's
no.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And I think that's what it would. I think him coming in on an Ahsoka series is where we would find him. That would open the door for, Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what's so great about the universe. It just keeps expanding because there's so many different worlds.
He'd be really, 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 really old.
No. How old was he when Ahsoka became a Jedi Padawan?
You don't do it now. You do it. What was he doing then, and how did he get his memory back? That whole story right there. And then when he falls off when he gets out the window, and then you just talk.
Actually,
that's what I'm saying. From right there, that's what I mean. Yeah, go ahead.
I even got him better.
Go ahead.
This would fuck with everybody.
Go ahead.
In Ahsoka, too. They do one of those, when they do one of those episodes, people call them filler episodes, where they do like a backstory episode that has nothing to do with the continuity of the current
actual
story.
series.
Right.
Okay.
So like they do like where Ahsoka, like in between the time in between like Clone Wars and Rebels or whatever, or Clone Wars and Episode 4 or whatever, because that's a big gap, right? She meets him, and like he's living off on his own or something like that, and something happens, and he's just like he's like keeping it a secret that he's like living, and he like trains her a little bit, and then she leaves him, and he just is living off on his own on like some, what I mean? And it would be like a backstory, so it would be like a flashback of her and him like afterwards,
right? But
something personal that happens with that character, pretty much.
Yeah.
What was it? Where was it that Ahsoka was on the run? Which part? What animation?
That would be like just the very final season.
Yeah,
because it takes place at the same time as Episode 3. So in the middle of the final season of Clone Wars, Order 66 happens.
Yeah.
And also to her, she's on a separate Star Cruiser, not with anyone in it.
So that's what I'm saying. So then at the end of that is where, like, if they would turn around and do another season because she's still on the run.
Well, technically in Rebels,
I understand what Kenny's saying. There is a very large gap. The end of season 6 to there's a huge difference. Yeah, there's a very large gap from the time that we see her in Rebels with the white sabers that we see her with.
Yep.
To where we see her completely on the run at a crashed ship.
Yep.
At the very end of the Clone Wars series, there's a bunch of time where we don't know what she was doing.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. I think in there would be because when she comes back, lightsabers are different colors. You know what I'm saying? Her skills are like fucking insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now she's really good. She's a lot calmer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's becoming like a
exactly
teacher.
Right. So that then now, if we would say that it would be in that space that she ends up meeting Mace.
Right.
Bro, we just wrote the story again. Bro. We got another anime for
and millions of other people.
And Jackson said he would be
it's
down.
It's crazy how everybody thinks something.
He would be down. He'd said to do an episode.
He'll be down for the rest of forever to do more of that character.
And you could do an animation with him, right?
And even if they don't want to bring him back to life, they could do flashback episodes with him.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, because now you have a story about him. What was his life? How did he get to?
Yeah, because if you look at even Ahsoka's thing, all the bouncing around that they did with her storyline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hell yeah, it's easy to do that shit for for Mace. You know what I I mean? Yeah.
I like that she fights with it too.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah. And then she's doing that intergalactic travel now.
Right.
Well, in the show she was, but she went into the into the whale.
So back to episode 3.
Yeah.
Again, steering the ship.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So also what's happening with Anakin during episode 3 is, you have Padme and the fear of loss. You remember he was having those dreams.
Right.
Now, which there's a plausible theory that Palpatine, Lord Sidious, Darth Sidious, was using Sith alchemy to plant those dreams in Anakin.
Right.
Gotcha.
So
they were screwing with his mind.
Because they were using Sith alchemy in the Clone Wars again. I know, bring back the Clone Wars. He was using Sith alchemy with Count Dooku. They had some like fucking cauldron going, and they were doing some kind of witchcraft type shit, but it's considered Sith alchemy. So like he could have done some kind of Sith alchemy to plant those dreams into Anakin and put the fear in him. And he's going through that whole thing, and he's lost his mother. He has nightmares about losing his mother, and then he lost his mother. So like he's worried shit's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Anakin wasn't seduced by power first. He was seduced by the promise that he wouldn't lose someone again.
Right.
With the whole thing with Palpatine.
Right. Yeah. And that's why listen.
But we can jump into that next. But let's talk a little bit about this, with
Yeah, which part?
About like him fear of losing Padme.
Yeah.
Dreams.
It was the dreams. It was just putting those little things
in one. So yeah, right.
Yeah, and again, that goes back to what I was saying too about like incredibly human experience.
Right.
You're being told that she's super likely to die.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a singular option that's going to let you keep her alive. Also, that same option doesn't like the fact that you're not actually allowed to be with her. So why not help that guy?
Yep. Because I don't think Anakin was really going to leave the Jedi. You know what I mean? I don't think
he had no
Jedi.
intention. He would not have. In his heart of hearts, he was a very, very good Jedi Knight.
Yes. Right.
However, and this is where I kind of like the overarching story of it is a little bit strange for me. Love is sort of the plague, you know, like it's that's the part that I struggle with the most. That like in this story specifically, the fact that he's in love is such a plague on the whole rest of his existence.
Right.
And he's not supposed to be.
He's not supposed to be.
But that's why I think that if he was able, well, again, if he didn't have those dreams, you know, the nightmares like that, right, then he would have been he would have been a super strong Jedi.
Yeah.
And now, because of love.
Somebody was messing with his mind.
And also, who's not to say that wasn't Sidious from very, very far away doing that to him?
Right.
That's something that is explored in other Sith Lords from times far before him.
Right.
I mean, there's literally a guy that was like famous for taking the life from planets. So
yeah,
right, yeah.
Was that Tenebris or no? That wasn't Tenebris.
I can't remember which one exactly. The one that they call like the World Eater or something.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah.
He was like he was nightmarish looking.
Yeah, nightmare. Like so. I believe it's Darth Nihilus.
Yes, that's who he was.
That just came to me.
I know. Lou's gonna be like, you guys are on another fucking realm.
This is totally, this is like deep.
Yeah.
I think he was pre-Old Republic.
Yeah.
Right. But that goes to, right. But that's what I'm saying. That was the stuff in the comic books that I didn't read.
This is before the Rule of Two and all
right.
that.
Yeah, it's way before the Rule of Two. He was, I believe when he was around, there was still hundreds of Sith.
Yeah. And that was the whole shit, man. That's what, bro, listen, I wish that they can do so many different stories. That would be amazing.
Yeah. I think it's a majorly missed opportunity that we don't have something that's actually set in the Old Republic.
Yeah. I think the biggest mistake was them. I mean, a lot of people didn't like this Acolyte series.
I liked it.
I thought it was
I still have
good.
to fully watch it.
I don't like it and I like it at the same time. You know what I mean? I think they should have went with Old Republic instead of High Republic.
Yeah.
That would
the High Republic time is like it's a cool and interesting time that they did in just the extended universe that covers a very large gap via books, but just for the people at home. But it's also like a strange like time of mostly peace.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's like kind of super not a lot going on during that time. It's basically a golden age for Jedi, which means that there's probably not a lot of bad happening. So the story of the Acolyte is very choice and select.
Mm-hmm. I liked it. I liked the idea of it though. You know what I'm saying? I like that. I mean, I get it. And it's funny. So I'm gonna follow me, please. This is the only thing in the Star Wars, I guess, lineup.
Right.
That was the only thing that was able to deal with it being a standalone project. You know what I mean?
True.
I was cool with that. It's not like when I watch DC and I'm like, fuck Batman. He's a punk ass. Whoever's writing these things need to get kicked in the teeth. I was okay with that standalone.
Comics,
yeah, because it was something entirely new with people that you have no context on at all.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like it was almost the same thing with The Mandalorian, except there are characters in it and attached to it that are incredibly important that we know very, very well.
Yeah. Well, because we know that, it said the whole Mandalorian thing, that's where the clones started from. You know what I mean? So then to follow the Mandalorian thing, I don't think you would have been able to make it just a standalone and it make it has to have the tie-ins of some of the key characters. It's a little too on the nose to be completely separated. Right.
I wanted to go into just one thing, but it would be a bit of a skip ahead as far as the full story of Episode 3. There is this really fun shot of Anakin during the final duel that people put up against a very famous painting known as The Fallen Angel, and I believe I can pull it up right now on my own screen or on an extra
look
screen.
at that.
Wait, I gotta look.
And of course, this is a famous painting of Lucifer.
Right. I forgot about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a very, very choice and specific shot during the final duel when he's nearly about to kill Obi-Wan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. He was like that because he had the saber. Yeah.
And I can't tell because of the editing here whether or not I'd have to go back and watch the actual true footage. I'm not sure if he actually has the same single tear falling down his face or not.
Well, I don't think so.
I can't tell. He's kind of also sweaty in that scene because
Right. That's what I was going to
planet.
say. I think he was sweating, not tearing up.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of lava.
Yeah.
It's pretty hot.
It was hot on the mountain.
Probably like literally 150 degrees. So
Right. Yeah. So I think it was a lot of sweat.
Right.
Because he'd
have to make
I
that
think-
face if he was really crying. Or
Yeah. Because I think I want to see that.
Or he was just like, it's really hot.
Yeah.
It's hot. Yeah, no
for
one's
real.
no one's complaining about the heat at all.
Yeah,
no
no,
one's
no,
like
no.
You know, you
making
guys are
any
just
like
going along like we're not in a big fucking cave with a fucking lava river.
Well, because they knew how to use the force, so they had AC and then
Yeah.
it was cool.
Whatever.
It was cool. They were
But-
deflecting the heat.
and then I believe this
my
is
lightsaber has
the-
an air
there
conditioner.
is
I can get-
there's one
okay.
other shot that they say is supposed to be like another jab at the same sort of thing, and it is, I believe, this guy right here.
Another picture.
There's another shot where he is doing a very
I
similar
know.
situation.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's before he goes into the Jedi
I believe
Temple.
that's directly
Yeah.
after he goes into
And
the
all the
temple.
kids.
He was enraged in that one.
Yeah.
He was crying at the same
Yeah.
time while
Yes,
he was doing
it
that.
right.
Yeah.
Because he didn't like the idea that this is what he had to do
Yeah.
to get to the next level.
Yeah.
You know?
I'd have to go back. I'm not sure if this is before he walks in or after. I believe it is before, though, when he has like the whole platoon of clones with him.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder in that scene, and I know we're jumping ahead too, but I wonder in that scene.
Thank you, everybody, for listening, watching, being here with us. Like, follow, subscribe, all that other good shit.
Go wherever you
Appreciate
find
you.
your podcast.
Anywhere you find, listen to podcasts. We're on the YouTube, all that good stuff. So, love, peace, and hair grease.
Live long and prosper.
And use the dark side.